What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Music Production Podcast. This is Brian Funk. I make music as AfroDJMac. And today I'm very excited to have on the show Thomas Piper of the People's Republic of Sound. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. What's up? What's up? What's up?
I'm doing good. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good seeing you too.
A fellow New Yorker here.
Yeah.
So, do you want to maybe just give us a little background, like how you got yourself started, what you're up to, some of the things you're doing?
Okay. Well, the started thing, I've been doing production and vocals and stuff for a pretty long time. I was based in Long Island for a minute, and did production. I was signed for a little bit as a singer artist on G Street years ago. Had a publishing deal with Universal. But now I started my own company, which is People's Republic of Sound. We do video as well as music production. I'm Ableton based heavy. Working on that album. Album's pretty much done. It's called Permission to Live. And I have a single out called Requiem for a Sunny Day, with a video that I shot and my partner Terry Powers, she shot with me. So yeah, so that's a very quick, because there's a million things in between there.
Yeah. Oh, cool, man. Yeah, we've bumped our paths a few times over the years, running into each other in various get-togethers.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely good to sit down and talk with you. I've always loved what you've done.
Well, thank you. So I think you too as well. The community is small. For such a big city, the community is small. So
yeah. When you find like that right niche, it's great. It's very warm and welcoming. I guess maybe like when you're in such a huge area, and you've got like people that are like you, that are into like what you're doing. It's like you got to hold on to them because everyone else is a stranger.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, and you would think that New York would have a million things like that, and it doesn't.
Yeah, it can be hard.
Yeah,
it's easy to be alone around a million people.
Yeah, it's cool.
Nice. Yeah, I was just watching your video, The Requiem for a Summer Day. Awesome stuff.
Right. Yeah,
I love how it starts outside, kind of low key, and then it goes into like the full song.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
To set up this kind of from one is like playing, and then it locks into the day, kind of suspenseful, kind of long, slow, make you can think video kind of vibe. And that was one part shot in Brooklyn and one part shot in California. So that was cool.
I was going to ask you, I saw those little mountains sticking out of the ocean. I was like, that's nowhere around here.
That was, one was Cali and one was New York. And I kind of juxtaposed both. So it kind of felt, so it's kind of you're reminiscing in that part, in the West Coast vibe.
Both coasts, nice.
Yeah. So
the California coast is beautiful.
It's out of control.
Did you drive down the Highway 1?
Oh, we kind of just stayed in the Bay Area, but I've done it before when I was younger, but usually I go over there and I don't have time to do anything. I'm either it's a show and you leave, so it was cool that I had a couple of days to kind of feel what was going on, Yeah. So. It's that area is really great. It's just good vibes.
Yeah, some of like the most beautiful scenery I've ever seen in my life. Driving down, I drove from San Francisco to LA over the course of a couple of days, stopping wherever we felt like stopping.
Yeah,
but I mean, you're driving, and like every 5 minutes, you're looking out the window. It's like, we got to stop here and just look at this.
I was like, I had my drone. I was like, okay, we gotta, let's. I had a feeling that something was gonna go down, so we kind of were like, we're gonna shoot something here while we're here. Let's see what we could do. And so we knew kind of we cased out a couple of places what we thought would be cool. So
nice.
And hopefully that it works.
Is that like a technique you use where you maybe like try to gather cool footage, maybe not necessarily even knowing what it's going to be for?
I mean, in theory, you'd like to do that, but I mean, I, if I know I'm going someplace, I'm going to carry the drone, or have. I used to carry camera more, but I don't as much now. I don't. So I don't have like tons of. Some people just have tons of footage that they can splice into things. But nah, I don't really do that. But I might have it around, so. It worked out there where, okay, we're here long enough. Let's go back and let's do this, and this. And that's kind of how we, set up.
Nice.
It works out.
Very good. Yeah, your beat designs are so inspiring, where you just you show up. It actually starts without you even in the room usually, and you come strolling into your setup and just bust something out real quick, and it's just like, man. Throwing that together, the vocals, harmonies, great stuff.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, the idea for that is just to get people. It's like an exercise too. It's a little bit of, promotion exercise. Instead of releasing records all the time, you can release something. And they get everything, and I mean, lately I've been trying to pull in the community into things, like taking events and stuff like that, making so I'm trying to do that a little more. But I enjoy doing those. I mean, doing every week is not as easy as it looks, but yeah.
Oh, no way. I mean, I just to put together anything that sounds halfway decent at all, is tough, and put yourself under the pressure of, now I'm going to film and I'm going to put it out every week.
Yeah.
That's ballsy. It pays off.
It's like I look at it, it's like, what did I get myself into? But no, it's cool. It's cool. We're going to expand. We're going to do beat design analog soon. So,
what's that about?
It's going to be the same vibe, but more analog pieces. So, like, I've got like Moog and Prophet and some of the Electron devices, the Rhythm, the what's the other one? Their Analog 4, their Analog Heat I have. So it's hopefully that's so it's going to be less in the box and more out of the box.
Nice.
I might still control it with a push. And I might still do vocal kind of, overdubs, but that's about it.
That's cool.
So I'll have a different sound.
Yeah, I was doing something like that last night. I didn't have this. I was telling you, I just got a new audio interface. And I'm struggling with it. I'm in the troubleshooting phase where I'm ready to pull my hair out and just give up on music forever. But we'll get it working soon. But last night I had nothing to run my audio, all my synths and stuff into. So I was just running it through my guitar amps. So I had like the Novation Bass Station, the Prophet, and the Analog Rhythm.
Yeah.
And nothing was synced, nothing was connected. I just put the BPM at the same time, and I was just like, boom, hit play at just the right moment.
Yeah.
And going through the guitar amps, man, it was just like great. Everything's kind of, it's like alive. It's like not super, there's a little drift sometimes.
Yeah.
And I left it on for like a half an hour. I was just kind of enjoying it. And I went upstairs for a second. And when I came back down, I was doing like these like kind of synth stabs with the Prophet, and they were on the 1 and the 4. No, the 1 and the 3, right? And when I came back down, they had like drifted to be like on the 2 and the 4 and it was so much better that way.
Just sometimes you feel it gives you a vibe. Yeah.
And it was just like the magic of the machines, like saying, no, we're going to do it this way, And sometimes when you just let go of all that control and you just let the things kind of live, it's kind of neat what happens. You get those fun accidents.
It's so hard to do because you get used to, I'm going to hook it up USB, I'm going to sync it up, and then you're going to, some people quantize to death too. So things don't, but that's why it's cool to do some stuff, outside the box. A little more unpredictability and, it does sound. It's a different sound. It can be a living, more living. It's still, electronic.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I wasn't actually doing anything, but
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
turning a knob here. But
yeah,
to have like, and the character of the guitar amp too over the synths and the
yeah,
drum machine, I was just like, man, why don't I do this more? Just
yeah,
record that, sample that, and then bring that in and have fun.
yeah. That's how I feel with the analog heat.
I love the analog heat. I got one of
Like
those too.
you kind of throw things in and throw it out and crush it, and sometimes sometimes you use overbridge, sometimes you literally just plug something in and plug it in. So it gives you that you can really crunch up stuff and change the vibe. I mean, you're hearing that a lot too. People starting to crunch up things, make it But the plugins are getting better at doing it too. So
yeah, it's funny. Like I don't know about you, but like I'm sure you've been recording your own stuff for a long time, and I mean I started on 4-track tape recorders.
yeah,
And I was always fighting against the dirtiness and the crunch, and
right,
that I couldn't play in time
right.
or in key, So, but now that everything's perfect, I find myself like trying to get back to that a little bit, trying to like artificially inject the imperfections.
Yeah, or at least some sort of. I think it's more character. Like you want it to sound a little different, especially now we have this kind of monolithic sound where everybody has all this equipment, but everybody's using the same drums. Or
yeah,
you hear a lot of records where it's just the same drums, the same this. Because if you go too far one way, it's not a genre anymore. So it's kind of cool to flip it up and go, okay, well, I'm gonna inject some of this nastiness in here because sometimes it just becomes sterile. It becomes or just the same. Just it's the same. So
I guess we all have the same presets. We've all got the same, like when you quantize, it's the same feel. You lose all that.
Yeah, I'm not I quantize at times. So that's one of my things that I try to get it to do this kind of thing where it moves, or I'll shift things to get grooves.
Yeah.
So I do that a lot. Sometimes I just won't quantize at all. I mean, my timing's pretty decent anyway, but I'll get things to do that. Or my quantize won't be set at 100%. It'll be set at like 30, or just to just move it if it's a little off. Or
I'm a big fan of like the about 50% quantize.
Yeah.
Just enough to like kind of fix me a little, but enough to maintain like the feel, the vibe.
Yeah. Sometimes I don't do it at all. I mean, a lot of times lately I've been doing a lot of like this kind of loose thing. Even so I mean, I think when you do dance music, I feel sometimes it feels like it needs to be tight. Maybe the snares could be, but that 4 on the floor, that always feels like it needs to be dun, 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 dun.
Right there, yeah.
Yeah, which, has been going on even before sequencers, where they've been using tape loops to make the floor just go boom, 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 boom. So I think people are used to that. But if you're doing funk or, anything soulful, thing like that, you kind of want to shift it back, move it forward, whatever. Give it that feel.
Yeah, I was listening to one of the more recent beat designs you have here, and I think there was like it might be like clap or snaps over it, but they were like really nicely behind the beat, like a little bit late. Yeah, not where they sound sloppy, but just where it's loose and it's like it kind of added to like the I guess like laid back feel of the song.
Yeah,
where sometimes you want a frantic like on top of the beat thing, but I thought that was nice because you have this like nice smooth, relaxed vibe going in that particular track. Fits nice, and I think that adds to that thing when you let go. It's kind of like your attitude. If you're uptight, you're not going to be able to make something
loose.
Yeah, chill and relaxed. So
I was just having a discussion about quantize and just sometimes you go studio and a person I see these engineers they'll go in and quantize over tighten your thing. You're like, no. I wanted to hit the quantize button. I could have did it. I wanted to do this, to kind of not all the time, maybe, in trap music, maybe I don't all the time or something like that. But, when I'm doing some soulful, I try to lay off the quantize, just let it, just, more like a drummer. Drummers feeling the groove. Because there's some drummers who are tight like machines too. So,
oh, space aliens coming.
yeah, my phone is bugging. But but that's cool. All right, I'm back.
Nice. So, are you doing anything like kind of when you're doing your beat designs? Are you thinking anything in particular, any techniques to maybe not sound so, like we said, like kind of like ordinary or like all the other sounds? Like, do you work on anything conscious like that?
This last set I've been going. The newer things I've been doing is more like these next set I've been going through a lot of output sounds. So
nice.
Exhale and Substance, and and those guys over there are really cool too. So just to flip the sounds around from on top of the on top of having if I have my Moog up or something, I have something made. But yeah, I try to flip that. I've been trying to flip those around so that there's just a different bank. I have some staples that I use, but lately I've been trying to shift it around so it's different. So it's not feeling all the same.
Yeah.
Unless I do like sample stuff. And when I do sample stuff, I don't really care because that's going to be different just because
right.
A different sample.
Yeah.
But if I'm playing, then I try to do that. I also try to jump out of genre. So every once in a while, or tempos at least. So I may not stay at 130, 80. That in turn, you could do the same, chord progression, but you're in different tempos. It just sounds like a different thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's what, but I do pick my sounds ahead of time too. So I kind of know where I'm going, even if I don't know where I'm going.
Right. So you got a plan. You're not searching for presets and things.
Yeah, because then that takes forever. It's kind of like, I may have a staple like a Rhodes or a guitar-y kind of sound, and then all the other sounds will be like, I'll use this bass, I'll use this snare, I'll use this drum set, let's see how that sounds, drum kit, or whatever. I'll use these strings. All right, that's good enough. And then once you sing on it, it kind of will take a life of its own anyway, which is one of the other reasons why the vocals are cool, because by the time you get to that point, it now seems like something else.
So when you're doing these, are you so you have a little bit of like your project set up with the sounds, I'm assuming?
Yeah, I'll have like the snare, the drum kits, basses, and then, some sort of pad, whether it be a Rhodes or a string or, then some other sound, maybe the Moog might be there, and then I just decide a tempo, or I may not even decide a tempo. I might just all right, let's go, and then rock, and then hope that it comes out, and then if it doesn't, then if we do another take, it's usually something totally different. So it's like, let's scrap it.
Yeah, so like, that didn't work. Let's do something different.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen. Every once in a while, you'll do like a 2-take where, that was good, but the camera wasn't recording, or something like that, or the recorder. We have a recorder that records in. Either I didn't hit the button or something like that. So that's when you will end up doing that over. And of course, it's not going to be the same because it's going to be close. Like, if I remember what I did and I thought it was good, I'll do it over. Especially if it's a lot of times, some of these cameras we had, with the Sonys, before they got the updates and stuff like that, and they would overheat. So you would it would stop you, or you'd have 2 cameras and one is off. And and so, but generally it's pretty, it's pretty quick. I know when Ableton came, we did I must have did 6 of them, and they just picked.
Yeah, they
So
picked one. Cool.
so that and each picked one. Like, okay.
Yeah,
So
and that was a really cool video too. Definitely
yeah, they
enjoyed
did a
that.
good job. They did a good job. I mean, I was
Yeah.
involved a little bit. I did like some drone stuff for them, but it was cool. Yeah, they did well.
Yeah. Yeah, and the way it's put together too, it tells your story a bit. It's the kind of thing after I saw it, I was like, all right, I want to go make music now. You know?
Yeah, I saw it and it was like, oh, okay, this is well. I mean, I come from the film thing, so I can never really enjoy those type of things. Like how and I go, oh, I saw what they did there. I saw what they did there. So it becomes kind of technical, but I mean, yeah, it was cool. And then I was involved in certain things because they had access to my cameras and the drone. So we were kind of like, okay, well, and I had to shoot things afterwards. So it was a cool experience.
How long was the process? How long ago did you start working on it?
They came. It was a 2-day thing, and they came. I guess before the summer of last year, or
oh yeah,
it was warm. It was like maybe not. Yeah, or like yeah, it was like August of last. It's almost been a year.
Wow.
Or like September, or it was warm. It was warm. It was still warm. So maybe it was October. I don't know. It was a little while ago.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So
they put some time into it.
Yeah, they put time.
Off.
Yeah, and it looked like it.
Yeah.
So it was, and they were here for 2 days, and it kind of just, you just kind of did it.
Yeah, just go. It's like a double like performance, I guess, in a way. Like not only you have to do this like beat design on the fly, you got to do it on the fly in front of them.
Yeah, in front of them, and then you still got to do yours. So the one that I had the one that I did that got posted when they did it was done months before. So it was like, it's done like, you know what I mean? It wasn't, I had to hold on to it and just kind of, and then look at it later like, oh, that was all right. Yeah, because you look back and go, okay, this was cool, that was cool. So that's kind of the best things about it.
Yeah.
Even the studio looked different. Certainly, I had a plant in there and it was like, wow, the plant got big. So you could little things like that you look at. That's cool.
Yeah, nice.
It's good vibe. It's good vibe.
Yeah, and it seems like it's got a great response online too. I've seen people sharing it a lot and bringing it up. Even in one of my classes, they're like, check this out. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's gotten a good response. I mean, people have hit me. I mean, all sorts of people. So that's, I mean, it's beginning. You feel a little movement, so that's cool.
Yeah. Nice. So you're doing some work. One of the things I liked a lot in the video was the tune you did with Sesame Street.
Yeah.
So I know you've been doing some work with them.
Yeah, that was cool. We did that. That's been a year almost now too.
Yeah.
And they actually send you briefs every once in a while, so I'm going to submit again. So that's been cool. That's been cool. Those are big projects because you're doing video and music.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of work.
So you do the whole segment.
Yeah, you do the whole segment.
Oh, that's so cool.
You got to wrangle kids and wrangle adults and
yeah.
Yeah, you got to get all those people. They don't. You're the production company, so you do everything.
Oh, okay.
So it's like and they hire you to, they outsource you. So they're not. Oh, these are these kids. Or no.
Yeah. Okay.
You got to find everybody. You got to get the permits. You got to do everything.
Oh wow. So that's a big production then.
Yeah. You got to hire. I didn't shoot everything. I was more directing. So that was a team effort. I did the music. The music was more like how music normally is. You go in the studio, knock it out. But the video part, it was real. For something that's like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, it's like it literally was like, because you have like maybe 10, 15 kids, and, 2 different camera guys, stabilizers. I'm using the drone and finding locations and craft services. You got to make sure they're okay. Kids have to eat, So my partner, Terry, did a lot of that, the back behind all those kind of reached out, and my friend Lloyd did something too, where we kind of wrangled that together. I had everybody involved.
Yeah. It sounds like you need them.
My mom and everybody was involved. It became it's especially with the kids, because you've got to kind of make and you've got to get it done in a way where they're not like tired.
Yeah.
Too many. We had like 2 or 3 kids who were from a dance school to kind of be in there, and then everybody else was just regular kids.
Yeah. Okay. So they're not used to that whole process of
so some kids don't want to do it. So, yeah.
Sounds fun at first.
Yeah. The music part was easy. The music part's like, oh, I submit 3 or 4 songs. Which ones do you like? Blah 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 blah. Okay. And that was it. And they kind of have a brief of what they want, a loose brief. So you do those.
How does it change for you when you're writing songs for kids, like specifically for that kind of audience, compared to like, say, when you're doing something more for yourself, artistic expression?
I mean, the kid thing, it's the process is, they have a brief, so you're kind of you're not locked in, but but it's not that much different. It's still, my process is still, make sure there's something catchy for a hook after the beat is done or the music is done, and then decide, decide, okay, I'm gonna kind of, so the hook may be generic thing, kind of like any words, and then it's like, okay, just so that the rhythm and the melody or whatever it is strong, and then decide, okay, this is where we're going, because we have these briefs. What is this song about? Whereas when you do something like me working on this album, it was similar though in a way, because not at first, but as it went on, there was a concept for the record. So I would, as I did a song, I would then, when I got the hook and the musical part, I would kind of tweak it to meet what I wanted it to go for the concept of the record. It's kind of permission to live, self-help, kind of up and down, like happy, questioning and then believing in yourself kind of vibe. So, so I would make the songs go that direction. So, so it's just, it's pretty similar to that, where you could, you just, stick the other words in. The other difference though is that, I guess with that, you still have to be educationally concise. So that's where, I'd have to, my partner happens to be, Terry has, she's in education. So there's things that she could say, okay, don't say this or do say that. And, and then they'll come in and get involved, like, oh, maybe you shouldn't say this, or, So that's the difference. Whereas when, especially with this album, the only thing was more like, okay, this is what we want to say for this concept. And you can break it on an album too. You can kind of have a love song if you want or something. You know what I mean? But with that, it doesn't. So it can be cool, But and then you're submitting, which can be fun, and sometimes it can be very annoying. So
yeah,
it's kind of like I submitted like 4 songs. Right now I submitted 2 things for this movie thing, where those are different too. Where it's kind of like, oh, we need a song that sounds. It's more like a license where they kind of, you get the vibe that they couldn't get, I don't know, blah 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 cleared, but they didn't want to spend the money that whoever it was.
Yeah, I want a song that feels kind of like that song.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, well, do you have anything that feels like this? And it's like, so those are, they can come in handy if you have something that's really good, that's your own thing that you might want to get exposure for. You can go, okay, I have this that actually is mine that sounds like this. I'll give you this, And then sometimes you've got to make something that just pretty much is like sound, So, those things, they can be cool. I don't do them often because they can be annoying. They can be draining.
Sure, you're constantly doing revisions.
Yeah, you can spend a lot of time for not too much reward. Where you're kind of like, man, I could have spent that time, dealing with my record.
Yeah.
Dealing with what I have to do in going out and touring, and it almost equates. It seems like a decent check, but it doesn't always. It doesn't. The time can be so much. It's just like I could have spent that time pushing my thing to where it needs to be.
Yeah, well, finding the time is always one of the big challenges.
Yeah,
and using it wisely, and you're trying to make some money, and sometimes when you're working with people, they want you to work on it many times over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, that's why sometimes it's cool to do, like, for me, sometimes I do like hourly things, or when people are paying and they know that they're on the clock, it's a different vibe than when you say, hey, it's $1,000, but you're gonna be here. And they're like, to them, it's like this big thing, and you're sitting there for like 50 hours. You could have did 10 things.
Yeah.
Even with film, I kind of limit it. Like, this is our shoot, this is our time, this is our date, this is what it is. If you need to do this, it's gonna cost you more. And then, and that's why I kind of limit it to that. I mean, my main concern is basically, okay, my company putting out my record, building beat design to a place where I can, one, put out, people know Requiem for Sunny Day because of beat design. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that, and using that as a place to broadcast things, also maybe later on broadcast other artists, broadcast people's events. I've been doing that lately too.
Yeah, I've seen like the block party stuff going on and some of those live events outside. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and those are cool things to, let people see what's going on, because people don't know the scene in New York. It's not like LA where everybody knows, okay, Low End Theory or Philly, Sam Never Sleeps or whatever, So there's no definitive thing here yet.
Mm-hmm.
Nor is there a definitive artist that kind of, the Flying Lotus isn't here yet. So it's kind of like, and it may not be too, because the record label situation is not as where it was, where someone put out a record and it's such a different animal.
Sure.
So, so anything that everybody can do to kind of, get the scene more noticed. Especially that kind of controllerism thingy.
Mm-hmm.
That we do.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of people doing it, but they're all like on their little rocks somewhere, and they need to lift up them rocks and get people together and doing it, sharing that.
There's not a lot of people who are interacting,
Mm-hmm.
So you see a lot of people who are just kind of in their studios. Some of them aren't even making videos to be seen, and it's kind of like, okay, well, do you do this, or So one of the things that has to, that's important is, if you're a performer, I think a lot of producers are used to being in the studio, but I think if you're a performer, you got to get out.
Yeah.
You can't. You got to perform. So I try to perform, at least twice a month, 2 times a month.
It's so easy these days because you can do everything on your own. You can do every part of the production. It's so easy to stay inside your little spot, your little studio, and to get out, and to find the people. It's so important to make those connections.
Yeah, I think you have to. I have a lot of friends who just, they're famous in their own head, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And it's like if you're not performing or at least reaching out in the internet even, then it's not enough. If it's a hobby, that's fine, but you've got to go out and put work out there. Let people hear what you're doing. Put something out. And that was one of the reasons why I did beat design. And also too, I felt like I would do shows, and maybe the venue, you do some shows, it's like 20 people in there. I need to make the show reach even further.
Right.
So it'd be like, okay, if I put it on the internet, a show that had 20 people now has 300 people or 500 people,
Yeah, good point.
So so that's one of the things. So you're definitely building an audience, and you're reaching more people than if you just sat there, performed, people get more interested. But when you're, just locked in the studio, it was cool when you knew, okay, I'm just going to get this beat. This guy's going to come over and he's going to sing on this or rap on this or whatever. And he's going to go out and push it. And I'm going to stay in the studio. But that's not really what's happening now. That's not what's happening. So staying indoors is like retarded, Which is, you got to get out, perform.
And what you're doing, the beat design concept is great because it's you honing your craft, you're practicing, you're working, you're writing, and it's behind, I guess, like the whole concept is it's really a documentation of what you're doing. You're not necessarily saying, hey, this is my new single that I'm putting out. This is, hey, I'm working on this beat right now. And and that's fun, especially like as a fellow producer to watch someone do their work. See their creative process. And that's a great way to, I think, also to keep yourself regular with the work and staying consistent. And you've kind of made your practice a product in a way.
Even with the video, it becomes a video practice. It becomes a, you kind of, what you're not doing. Also, it also helps with shows because, you're literally setting up and you're rocking, you may be, the beat design as a setup thing, that is similar to a show process. The performing in front of an audience. Okay, it may not be a live audience, but there's a level of comfort. So it when you do a show, it almost feels the same way. You're really comfortable with the setup. So you know how things feel. So when you're in front of people, it's like, it's like 3 practices. It's a video practice. It's a show practice. It's a production practice. It's a vocal practice. Everything, all in one shot. So that's the beauty of it. And then you also get feedback from people, which is, sometimes you do a show, you may get some feedback. But this way, you definitely get feedback, and then sometimes you get records that are actually like, okay, this is cool. This is going to become something, and you can see what people like this one. Let me see why people like that. What was it they liked?
Yeah, I guess when you're at a show too, it's probably more common for people to say like, hey, good set, nice job, no matter what.
What goes on? Yeah, I've seen things
on the internet.
I do know the difference when people are pulled in. My set is pretty high energy, so I can feel it. But I know when it was good. I know when people are just saying that. But
people give it to you straight on YouTube, though.
Yeah,
they're not afraid.
They're not afraid. But but you could tell the show. You could tell too. Sometimes you have to work the audience. You gotta at least the way that I perform, where it's kind of I try to pull them in. So.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of what you're doing. You're very animated. You've even got your push angled down so they can see it.
Yeah.
So it's not just what's that guy doing? I don't know. Looks like he's got a spaceship or something.
Yeah, which can be cool for certain people, but
I
just think for me it just wasn't. It wasn't the way I wanted to go. I kind of was like, okay, what didn't I like about this? How can I make this work? Because I was doing little controller things way back, when the first set of, stuff was starting to come out with USB, with when the Oxygenate and all these little, controllers could literally, carry with a power book at the time and see if you could get on stage and make that work. And, and you could see, okay, this is, they're not watching this because they can't see it. So. So I thought it was kind of cool, at least for me, so.
Yeah, well, it's a good point because sometimes it does look like people are just like checking email when they're doing electronic music.
People aren't really good at conveying their performance. I see some people who, even though they have their thing in a traditional manner, you understand, hey, this is what's going on. When I turn this button, it's doing this. So if I hit this key, it's doing that. Whereas, some people is just like, well, first of all, some people are really just, I've seen enough sets that they're really just launching a clip and letting the clip go, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's nothing else to that, which is cool at times. I mean, but if you're doing a beat set, like I launch clips too and let it go, but I'm singing, so sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna play here. I'm gonna just launch clips, maybe do some effects, and call it on. But if you're doing a beat set, do something, because when you're doing a beat set and you're basically DJing your own music, that to me is, I mean, I don't want to be like a purist or anything, but because I do launch clips, so just let it go too. But sometimes it looks like they're checking email because they really might be. You still have to engage with the crowd. I think. I mean, some people's persona can get away with like this kind of Miles Davis-y turn the back to the audience thing, which if their persona fits that, fine. But I think people want to see that, and a whole night of that is like, it's too much.
Yeah, it's something I always struggle with, when I play is this. I want to make it seem like I'm actually doing something,
Yeah.
You want it to be visual and like, look, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But sometimes,
Right.
In listening back to some of my performances, I've been like, I'm really only doing that just to do something. It doesn't really serve the music.
Yeah.
And there's this like one side where I'm like, all right, I want to look like I'm doing this, and then there's this other side that's afraid it's just going to look like karaoke. I do vocals too live, so
Yeah. I know. I've seen it, so I know how that is. I mean, I you're a lot in the same boat as me. I mean, that's for me. I literally set up my set where I'm playing a lot now, especially. So my set has a lot of playing and a lot of things and it allows me to do things that, I couldn't do. A lot of improv abilities or make a beat from scratch.
Right.
Where we're going to make this right here in front of you and then we're going to go in, So the audience still gets some musical thing. They don't feel like, they don't feel like it's because I think there should be some sort of distinction between, beat set controllerist and DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's a DJ thing, then to me your standard is a DJ standard. To me is you better make me dance. A controllerist beat set is you really your standard should be I need a good show. You need to perform or you need to do because you're really an electronic version of a band in a way.
Right.
We have some DJ elements. We get that, so it can be easier to make people dance because of the DJ element. But it's cool.
Yeah, and I come from playing in bands. That's where I started. That's how I play guitar. So I was in rock bands. So as I've been moving more in this direction, doing the electronic beat controllerism type thing, one of the things I considered was playing some guitar in the set. But it's funny that I found that it just seemed too boring to do. To like come up and like play like some guitar riffs or a solo. It just seemed I
think it seems like from another place. If I played keyboards, it probably wouldn't work either because I could play keys, but playing the push worked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it even though in a way I'm essentially playing keys in a lot of ways, but because it's a controller-ish device,
right?
I'm not playing keys. You know what I mean? Even though and I could play keys, but I could also do drums. I could also, there's something that so it's. I think when I see that with some people, or you see like even like a group like Dirty Projectors or somebody like that, where they're kind of like a hybrid. You wonder, does this really work? Is it what am I watching? So it depends. It really does depend.
Yeah, I've been to some shows where maybe it was like kind of like the hybrid thing, where maybe they were playing guitar, and there's one band. what were they? Drawing a blank on the name. Ravenettes. I saw,
Right.
and I was really disappointed with their show because it was the guitarist was playing guitar and everything else was like just beats and electronic sequenced music, and it was just exactly like the record.
Right.
And to me, I was like, I wished it was one or the other. Like it just felt weird. It was just kind of like watching someone stand and play guitar to a CD player.
Yeah, and I think this is the dilemma that every controlist or electronic musician goes through, where how far do you want to automate your show?
Yes.
And then, I mean, for me, if I'm dealing I may start my show off, lately I've been starting my show off with this newer song, and I'm playing Rhodes on the push through the whole thing. So there's a level and there's solo. But because I guess you're connected to the one device, there's something about it that doesn't feel like karaoke. Mm-hmm. But when it's a separate guitar and then the computer's just kind of running, it seems like the computer's doing more work. Right. Or if I have other songs where I'm playing samples chopped over a drum beat, I think there's a level that I think the audience sees what I'm doing, and that's important. So the audience doesn't really know what the computer's doing. Some of them just think it's that's doing it.
Yeah.
So there's a connectedness to the electronic part versus behind the laptop, and you don't know what they're doing. So the audience assumes, I don't think he's doing anything. And then the guitarist is doing this one thing, and you're like, well, I know what a guitarist does. So where's all this other music coming from? Mm-hmm. And I think that's important. That changes the vibe.
Yeah, but sometimes when I see a show, I get this like really uneasy feeling when I can't tell what I'm hearing that's being performed and what I'm hearing that's a backing track. So it might be a full band, but you're listening, you're like, yeah, but there's other stuff going on. And I don't know.
Oh, yeah, guys. I mean, I've done shows where I was the Ableton rig guy, right? Mm-hmm. And some shows are minimal. Where when I was on the road with Amel LaRue, it was kind of like minimal, right? It was just like, hey, or 808, boom, right. Or a road. I mean, and the band was doing a lot of the work. Unless it was time to do electronic drums, then you would come in and play drums or whatever. If it was a sample, you played it, right? But I see a lot of bands where it's like the drummer's playing, but I don't think he's triggering these things. But I know those are electronic drums. Mm-hmm. The sample's taking up all the weight, and it's like you can tell, like some bands, it's like, okay, that Ableton rig is doing a lot. There's one guy singing, nobody else singing. There's 20 million backgrounds. But, I think there's something to when you're one guy out on stage and there's a lot of things going on, the computer makes sense to people because they understand that there was no way you could do it anyway. Mm-hmm. So if you're doing something and you're entertaining them, that's fine. But if you're in a band and there's a bunch of people and there's other things, it feels like trickery, right?
Yeah.
It feels like, it's trickery. You're cheating.
Yeah.
Because you guys could have easily just hired another background singer or whatever, So I think
that was the big feeling I had with that one band I was talking about before, because the music it's simple music, Right. It's nothing complicated. It's like garage rock on a lot of levels. And it was just like, well, why couldn't you just have a drummer do that?
Just cost and things happen. I think too. Yeah. That's the other thing. I think I don't think I went out and did a show because I couldn't afford to get a band. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I think it was more like, hey, this is what I do. I want them to feel this vibe. This is cool. I can literally go out with my whole studio here. This is what we're gonna do. Because I had a band and it wasn't the same. Where, we would had two computers, the backup singers was cool, but then the drummer, but the drums never felt like how it felt on the record. It was like, you know what I mean? So I feel like, I think a lot of times cost becomes a thing where it's like, I want to hire a drummer.
Yeah.
let me let the drums go. And that to me becomes, but the music needs it. Like, if you got this kind of acoustic drum sound, and you're like a regular rock band or jazz. I mean, they don't do that, but that they play.
Yeah, but, they get shunned away.
Yeah, they don't do that.
Take
but
your jazz card away for that.
yeah, definitely. I mean, but still, but a rock band will try that, and it just seems silly. It just seems funny. I mean, even some pop bands, it seems silly. Where you've got this live sounding thing, but it's like, the machine is going. You sometimes you hear, they stop and you hear the, and you're like, okay,
and like sometimes even the lead vocals are coming out of the PA too, out of the computer.
That's a lot of auto-tuned thingies that, one of the shows I saw, the vocals just didn't work. But, I mean, that's the beauty of the computer too, right? It's the ability, it does both. So you don't, what is a live you don't even know what a live show is, and that's kind of, that's automation. That's I mean,
there's something cool about it too, for sure.
No, I mean, that's automation. You don't really know what is live. I mean, I have tons of backgrounds on my set, because there's no way that I could do it. I could get some background people. But the thing is, I think something about it works is because in most of the cases, those backgrounds are me. So, maybe that was it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think for me, like when I kind of like to almost picture like I'm sort of like some frantic scientist controlling everything, and like the opportunity for stuff to get away from me and mess up is there. I think that's a big part of it, where you can mess this up. If you there have been times when I have like a big build coming and I'm just late on launching that next scene and it goes like an extra bar and it's weird and you got to go with it. So I think like that kind of feeling that this could go wrong is a nice feeling in a live performance.
Or it sounds a little different. I mean, I know I have songs, Requiem's a good example. I mean, I've got a couple where literally, they're being made right there. So, there's a click going, like, click, click, and I'm like, I'm playing a bass part. I'm playing the key. So, you kind of know, hey, this is wow, this is happening right here in front of me. So, I have like 2 or 3 songs on my set where that happens, where it's like drums are being made, music being made, so that, or a good, or same thing with the sample, where that if you take the sample out, there's nothing going on except for drums, because I'm literally playing that sample, and without it, you could hear the whole thing kind of fall apart. So if I miss it or whatever, then it's there, or the main keyboard part is there. So, I think, people want to feel that.
Yeah. You're in a
you
moment.
Want to feel, they want to make them feel like they're getting a show.
Yeah, this is happening now and only now.
Yeah,
this is special.
Yeah. So, or else what's the point of coming?
Right. Yeah. If it sounds exactly like the album.
Yeah.
It'll probably sound better in your system at home.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, and if it does sound like the album, you want to be like impressed because wow, I saw what he did. Like that was just like the record, but he did that by scratch. That's great. So kind of like if you see a great act like a Prince back in the day, where he would you know that it sounded like a record, or the jazz guys like you see like Kamasi Washington now, or that kind of thing. But but it always works. I mean, if you look at a hip hop show, you'll see that where sometimes I don't want a band behind it.
Yeah.
I rather it's been established as to what that is. Like I don't, because the drums are not the same, so I don't want to see Migos behind the band. You know what I mean? I want to hear the beat and you rhyme over it. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, there's something about those electronic drums, those big 808s.
Yeah,
like you don't get that on an acoustic.
You don't get that on an acoustic drum set. It's like that was the whole point of the record.
Yeah.
Just make sure your sound sounds good. Same thing with maybe like a Skrillex or something like that, or with Garner or whatever. I don't want to hear a drum version of that.
I
want to
hear sense.
Yeah, I want to hear boom, 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 boom. You know,
Uh-huh.
and now you doing whatever you got to do. You know, so.
Hmm. It's a funny thing, and then I guess this is why I have this like internal battle where you want it to be a performance, you want it to be interesting, and then you have this like these machines working for you at the same time. So
Yeah.
I guess I came to a point where I realized I was doing more than necessary. You know, I was just turning knobs just to make it look. It was like almost like being self-conscious, or you know,
Yeah, turning on just to be like, hey,
no,
this
I'm
is
really
not.
doing
Nah.
this.
Yeah, nah. I mean, I think everything has to have a purpose.
Yeah.
And you know, certain songs don't need that. Certain songs do. Certain songs, you're getting enjoyment because you're playing, so it's cool. Like there's certain songs like when I'm playing where it's literally like, yeah, this is cool. I could change this at any time, or I'm playing this and it has a nice vibe. I can, So I try to, at least with my set, there's things I'm doing and things I'm just not doing. And because it doesn't need to be done.
Mm.
But I've been playing more and more. My set is more and more played than ever. So
that's cool. Now, when you, if I can ask you a little bit about your actual performance, project,
right.
How does that work? Do you have like certain instruments that you use regularly? Or are you switching a lot of different sounds throughout the course of a show?
The sounds that are on the record. So
yeah.
So that's the key. So the set is pretty, big from left to right, and so there's,
a lot of tracks.
If something had a sample, in most cases I'd have to sample from the record. If something was played, I would pick the main thing. So certain songs, the Rhodes might be the main, or a guitar might be the main, or a synth sound might be the main. If I'm making from scratch, I'm gonna import the drums that I used on the record and just make it right then and there. Requiem's a good example where it's the drums, it's the bass, it's the guitar, it's the strings. They're all that stuff that was played on the record. Those sounds that I use, I just do it right there. Literally just hit a click and just record. I have another song like that too on the set, like 2 or 3 songs on the set. Where I literally it's fresh. Even sometimes the effects are there or whatever.
Uh-huh.
And then the backgrounds, in most cases, except for Requiem and actually another song, there are 2 songs where I don't have the backgrounds, where I just let it. So it's a little stripped down in the sense that all the backgrounds aren't there. It really is from scratch. It really is a live moment, 100%. It's like a live production moment, you know? So, which is interesting. I don't see many people doing that.
Yeah, well, that's a cool way to think about it. Live production, like it's not just you're like, say you're a band and you're just performing the song. Now you're like producing live.
Yeah, I mean, that's how I looked at it too. That's what I wanted to do, especially with Requiem. And the beauty of Requiem is because Requiem was made from a beat design anyway. It was easy to just go back.
Yeah.
Okay, Requiem was a beat design. I did it live there. I didn't even know what I was doing. I just made that up. So maybe, I'll, now that it has a full song, I'll just do it live again. It shouldn't be, it's not that hard. So Requiem was like one of the first ones where I was wasn't just playing a Rhodes or, drum pattern or sample or whatever, keys, whatever. It was kind of like, okay, it's basically a beat design on stage with the full song.
Yeah. And that's how it was born, so it makes sense.
Yeah. It came from beat design.
Yeah.
It was a beat design improv that kind of was like, oh, that's good. I'll make a song out of that.
Nice.
So,
how much of your material is coming from your beat designs? Like how many of those beat designs wind up becoming anything?
Not a high percentage, like 3 or 4 so far. I may go back and look at them.
So you're like getting close to like 100, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I mean, it might not be a high percentage, but 3 or 4 tracks out of that practice, that's 3 or 4 tracks you never would have had.
Not bad. I mean, I have a song on there on my album called "You Are," that I do on stage. That was a beat design. Requiem was a beat design. I'm trying to think what else was a beat design. And then there's like little ideas that like, oh, that chord progression was cool. Maybe that would make it to the album. You know?
Yeah.
Not the whole beat design.
Right.
But
elements of it.
Yeah. And, you know, for it to make the album is kind of cool in a sense. You know, and then the songs get big and flushed out anyway. You know, UR has horn player and all this stuff. You know, Requiem had a bridge that I never do live because it's kind of hard to do the bridge with the clips. You know, so
yeah, that's something I've run into myself when you know, if I'm gonna put something together on the fly, it's like now, if I'm going to do the next section, I'm going to stop everything and then just start over and, you know, build my chorus. And
yeah, I mean, I've been thinking of, you know, pieces, or I've done things where I did pieces where maybe a certain part, there's lots of things that repeat. So one of the other songs is on the album called Love Game that I do live to a certain degree. So it's not all, it's like pieces where the drums might be done live, and the bass is done live, and the keyboard part is done live. And then when it comes to there is a backing clip that's running that may have certain things, not minimal things, but just enough that when it's time to do the bridge, maybe those things come in, and those stuff, you know, it'll automatically mute these things so that, you know, then you can still do a bridge and then come back.
Okay.
You know, so it has to be, a lot of times with the shows with the computers, it has to be pre-planned. Like, it can't be total improv. Like that's the advantage of a band in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because you've got like four autonomous beings going, okay, well, this is what we're doing.
Right.
You know, whereas a computer's kind of, you know, it's not autonomous at all. So, you know, it's only one, and it's like you have to predetermine where you're going to end up to a certain degree.
Yeah, and in a band, you know, especially once you get to know the guys that you're playing with, you can kind of give each other the look where it's like, you know,
the band, we
know we're doing this or that.
This or that. Yeah. Yeah. When I was on the road a lot, I mean, you know, every show you knew what, you know, the drummer was going to do. You knew, you know, because it, you know, eventually it becomes rote and you got it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I think that's definitely, it's a different vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, I just went, it was last weekend. Da Vinci was doing a little thing in... I
was going to go to that.
Yeah, I thought I might see you there, actually.
I ran into Ben from Ableton.
Yeah, he was there.
And I was on the street. I was in Williamsburg, going to Whole Foods or going to Apple's or whatever. And I saw him, and he's like, yeah, you're going to go? And I said, yeah. And, you know, it just... I forgot what I ended up doing. But I might have been working on video or something, and I just got kind of locked into that. But I heard that was good.
Yeah, it was really cool. So Da Vinci was asked by somebody, you know, how much of this is prepared? And, you know, even like a track he was kind of building from scratch. He's like, well, it's all prepared. And on some level, everything's prepared. You know, you have to select your sounds. You have to do this. You got to make this decision, that decision. You got to put your controllers together. You got to do your mappings. And I think where on one hand you can look at that and say, like, oh, well, it's all set up. I think those decisions are kind of analogous to if you're in a band and you say, I'm going to play the guitar. You know, I've got my instrument. In a band,
everybody knows where something's going to drop anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to do this thing here. You're going to do this thing here. Now, you know.
But you don't go to a show without any strings on your guitar, without tuning your guitar.
When you do rehearsals, especially like I said, like when I was on the road with Mel, where it's a pretty decent sized band, you know, and it's definitely a you know, it's what's the word? You know, it's a little more pressure because she's somebody who's Grammy nominated and all sorts of stuff. You know, the show was planned. You know what I mean? Like, there's room for improv. She's gonna tell people, you know, let's keep it going, or whatever. But the show's planned. You know what I mean? Like, it's planned. It's not. I mean, you know, the entertainment business, everything is planned. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's nothing. Nobody goes out there and just goes, "Hey," you know what I mean? Everything.
Right.
So they beyond just putting the strings in. I mean, you're gonna be like, okay, this song's gonna go, and then we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop it. We're gonna do that bar for we're gonna do the chorus 8 times, and you're gonna change right here. Remember where you change. And back, girls, you're gonna sing this different. I mean,
Yeah.
That it's planned. It's planned. So it's not that much different. The difference is that you're telling the computer to do it. I think the difference is it's hard playing with the computer. Like, the computer can't just go, let me change this bass right now.
Yeah.
Or I feel what's going on with the audience. I'm going to keep this going. You have to make that decision, but the computer so the computer feels like it's doing something on its own, but it really isn't. So.
Yeah, and I find like it's almost maybe in some ways a little more challenging because if you're in a band and you're sort of this like collective mind all playing different parts, you're gonna say bring it down a notch for this next few seconds, so we can make it big again later. The drummer's gonna do that on their own, and then this person.
You have to do it on the computer. You got it.
You're everything. Yeah.
Computer. I literally have like a Rolly block on stage that just does a mute here, a group mute there, a filter, one of those stutter thingies, so that if I need to change the energy really quickly without going to the mouse or without going, the push is cool and all, but the push has a lot of different things. So on stage, sometimes you all these different kind of pages. You're not gonna.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's nice to have something that's just dedicated. Oh, just change the vibe real quick.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, I when I use push, I'm only using it for either sequencing beats or playing melodies. I'm not launching clips off of it. I leave the APC 40 on the side for that, and it's dedicated, so I can make a quick decision, and I'm not. Because I know once I start going through the menus and the pages and the banks, and I'm gonna get lost, and I'm gonna miss my cue and miss my change. And
yeah, I mean that I don't like carrying too much gear, so I limit it because I do launch the clips and do the playing with the push. But I've got it pretty much separate. Where if I'm playing that there is no clip launching going when I'm playing generally. And when I'm clip launching, it's kind of like that's that experience. Yeah. So it's a definite change because you get to the point, especially for me when I was on the road a lot. At that point I still did have gear, and it was I think at that point I might have had a launch pad for part of that tour. And that's how long ago the launch pads went out. But yeah, you don't want to carry a lot of shit. I remember carrying that APC, on a plane, on a thing. You don't want to have an APC and a push and a computer, on the flight, let alone if someone like me who has camera gear sometimes, and then, TSA is going through shit. And it's like, it's easy, and my setup already kind of has the stand that kind of is a kind of integral thing about it. So I try to limit the other pieces of gear, computer push, Apollo Twin.
Yeah. I did the same. My kind of rule for what I can bring to a show is I have to be able to carry it in one trip. So
yeah, we carry, and I can't even do that because I have I carry stands and stuff. But even if I go, I was in San Francisco a month ago. I did a show and I had to carry my stand. Yeah. So that becomes this thing where everything fit into the bag generally, but the stand, became this thing, So, I did carry my stand with me.
I usually bring my table. It's the adjustable height, and it folds up real nice. It goes completely flat. Yeah. But, I'm kind of tall, so like if I'm at like a regular sized table, I'm like hunchback over that thing.
A lot of people going through that. Yeah, where they can't.
Yeah, so mine's like countertop height, and it's so much better for my endurance at performing. And so I've got a knapsack and like a duffel bag and my table, and if I can't carry it all in there, I can't bring it. And Part of the reason is like, a lot of the times I'll go out to Brooklyn to play and I'm driving there and you know
Right.
how parking is. You're parking
Yeah,
like sometimes half a mile
I
of a
live
mile away.
too. So it's, and that's what I'm saying. When you're on the road with it, it's like,
Hmm.
and you're on a plane with it. We have a show in DC coming up on the 27th, I guess, and you're like, okay, are we taking a plane, or are we taking a train, or are we driving? What are we doing? And then it's like, what are we carrying? And then for me, I usually, well, because Terry usually goes with every show, we still have camera gear because we want to document what's going on. We may not show it to anybody, but we want to have that option to use it as footage. And so we're carrying multiple things. We're carrying. So we've got camera bag, tripod, gimbal stabilizer, cameras, so hard drive to back up, this 4K footage. So, the less you could carry on something, the better.
Yeah.
And I know, like, for me, like, San Francisco was a good test for us. I did something with Ableton too, and we were literally like just trying to get on a train was a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
To go to Baltimore or whatever. So, that's all those things become, extra things. So when I see people with like, 3 or 4 keyboards, 50 little controllers, little Korg micro keys, like, yeah, that's good in theory, but
it's more things that won't work when you try to set them up.
And what you can lose on a plane or leave at the Airbnb, stuff like that. More things, little things, more cables. I mean, especially now with me, I buy. I got all these cables with. I'm trying not to carry dongles, and I got so I got like a USB on one end and USB-C on the other. So I've got these bespoke, make sure these cables are the right cables so I don't have to carry the dongle for the USB-C. So you want to keep track of all those things because that once you get to gig, nobody will have your cable, because you might be you and one other guy who has that laptop, and he might just so little things like that. So I'm carrying 4 different. I make sure I have 4 sets of cables of the printer. I have like the USB printer on one side and USB-C on the other, so that I don't have to carry dongles because once you're carrying I have one dongle I have to carry, and that's the Thunderbolt for the Apollo. That's it. And so you can. So I have. So when I'm doing a gig, I'm 4 main things I'm carrying, and sometimes I carry my microphone because you never know. Mm-hmm. So I'm carrying the MacBook, the push. Now I used to carry a launch pad, but it just was too big, and that's why I brought in
the launch pad too big. That's how you're really conserving space.
Yeah, I had a launch pad Pro too, so it's a little bigger than a regular launch pad, but and the push. So when you're trying to put the launch pad, the Apollo, a laptop, that's just it's too. That's why I put the Rolly in there, so there's a little less stuff. And then you're gonna have your power strip in there too. So and then all the cables. So carry if I had to carry all that stuff and carry like an APC, that's like 2 bags.
Yeah.
Then photo gear, that's like 3 bags. Like, oh no.
And then you got to set all that stuff up. It's usually dark. Can't see what you're doing. So yeah, I'm with you. Like
if you got smaller shows, you don't have no sound check, no anything. That's why a lot of times I carry my microphone and let it all be set up already. This way, you know what I mean? I'm not worried about it at all.
Yeah.
Like it's all set up. Okay, let's go.
You run your microphone through Ableton, or do you go through the PA usually? Is that like a separate
I don't run through Ableton. I run through. I just run it through the
whatever they got
console for the UA.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't run through the PA. I don't go through the PA separate, but I do. So it is coming out that interface.
Yeah.
But it's not going through Ableton through a monitor, because once you do that, it seems like it gives you it just becomes this feedback nightmare.
Yeah.
So I go through, but if I just run straight through, you know, just let the direct monitoring for the universal audio deal with what it has to deal with.
And you use those effects in there?
Because it has plugins anyway.
Yeah.
So there's no need to go through Ableton. So if I want to have a little compressor and go through their little mic pre thingies.
Okay, that's nice. Yeah, because they got those nice effects.
Yeah, so I don't have to go through them, and it's less feedback. It's not. I could get more volume.
Mm-hmm.
Once you Ableton and you're in the same thing, I don't know. It's like, because once you go through there, if you decide to put a reverb or something on there, and then on top of that, then you have to remember to turn off Universal Audio's monitoring, which is giving you a boost in volume. So it's an extra step that I don't want to go through. So I'll just use Universal. This way I don't get, because many times I used to do shows and they were both on in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Universals, because you kind of want the Universal thing on because it monitors no latency. It's quick. But then you wanted the Ableton effect. It just was like, so then you're trying to lower your latency down to 64, 128. And it's just like, it wasn't worth it. So I don't go through it. I go through the console for the UA.
Nice. Well, that's a good use of those plugins there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those plugins are reliable. They work. And they work. They work. And it's solid too.
Yeah.
And it's a solid device too. I mean, I've only had one little problem where when I was in San Francisco, rented some little, rented this PA and the cable snapped off. The little tip of the quarter inch snapped off in the Apollo. So it was my fault. But I mean, and I had to, get a chopstick and glue, pull it out, let it stand, and yank it out real quick. Became this big MacGyver YouTube experience.
Right.
But no, I use that because it sounds, it sounds good. It's built good.
Mm-hmm.
I like to have it too that if I start a track, there's some plugins and some vocal things that I can do from anywhere if I'm not home. Where when I used to have a Personas device. When I got back, when I would get there, I wouldn't have access to any of my UA plugins that were on my big Apollo. So I was like, it just wasn't worth it. So I decided to just dig in and spend the money on a twin, and this way, I still have some of those plugins if I need, or at least on my vocal.
Yeah.
Especially the little compressor, if I need to do something someplace else on a production vibe, at least I have some things. I mean, especially at that point when I didn't really have a lot of, I use the Slate plugins a lot now, but, before I used to use a lot of the UAs. I still do, but not, it's like half and half.
Nice. Yeah, and they're reliable. They don't take away from your computer, so that's cool.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, especially when you don't have, my laptop was, even the laptop I had before, it was all right. It wasn't killer. I mean, this one is pretty good. It's just a, 15-inch. So, the touch bar, so it's all right.
Nice. So what's next for you, man? What's the future hold? As you said, you got some shows coming up.
Yeah, show in DC, Hotel RL. I think it's the 27th of July, 5 to 6 p.m. It's on my site, the People's Republic of Sound.com. A show in Queens at this festival. I think it's the 17th. I don't know all the information. I'll be performing between the sets, so that's going to be unique. It might be a one-time I ever do that, but so I'm doing that. And then another Hotel RL gig. Albums coming out soon. Another singles coming out soon. Another videos coming out soon. I mean, I'm still promoting Requiem for a bit, so Requiem will be the Requiem for a Sunny Day on iTunes. We'll be streaming Spotify. Play it. That's a great record. So that's the thing. Gonna be on Output's page, so you'll see me there.
Nice.
and a couple other things that we got popping. I've been using their output substance pack, dystopian pack basses. And so that's been cool with it. Great sounds. I've been using the last couple of things. I've been using Exhale too from them.
Yeah, their stuff is great.
Yeah, their stuff is really good.
Movement, Exhale.
Yeah. I've been using their stuff, so it's been cool, and I and they're good peoples, and so I've been trying to,
I love their desk. I saw that. I was like,
yeah, the desk is cool. I wish it was in white. I it would fit my studio vibe, but
yeah.
And I wish it would hold for me, it needs a little bigger. I like to have my Moog on my desk so I can grab and turn and think.
Yeah.
I saw that Electron today has a new analog.
I know. They're on fire, man. They're just pumping out cool stuff. They're making it tough.
I love their rhythm. I have the rhythm in there, and I have the analog for there, and I just put it in there too. It's a little weird, but I've been using that on my set. So that's the other thing, beat design, analog.
Yeah,
so check that out on YouTube. That's going to be cool. And and more. I have a lot of footage from other events, so I'm going to start rolling them out. A little behind the scenes of the scene in New York, so that people get to see what's going on as well. So after my beat design will be little vignettes or little shorts of this is what's happening, this is that, or check that out. As well as if when I go on, on the road, you'll see like the DC show will definitely be doing the whole trip to let people see that. So they'll see that. I'll post that after the show, so they'll get a chance. And and I got Patreon page too, so people can come and join the world, join the revolution. So that's really what we're up to. We're trying to keep new stuff going and still pushing beat design every week.
Nice. Very good.
So that's it.
Cool, Thomas. Well, maybe we'll wrap up the talk, and then me and you will finish afterwards. Yes. Say goodbye to the people. So thanks so much for Thomas Piper, People's Republic of Sound.
Yeah.
Check them out if you haven't already. The beat designs, if you need a dose of inspiration, that's a great source. And the tunes are great. The music is awesome. Great vocals, great instrumentation. So definitely check it out. And again, thanks so much for taking the time.
Oh, thanks for having me. It was great. It was a blast.
All right, everyone. Take care. Have a good day.